afternoon, everybody. Friday, September 12th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live for all of the updates we have so far on the suspect who has now been taken into custody in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We're going to go over all the details. We don't know a lot yet. Apparently, the suspect has lawyered up in this, which one would assume they would do. We're going to go over everything we know, everything we don't know, what we know about the suspect. Look, before I get into this, a lot of people are going to speculate things they think, things they know, things they can surmise. I think we all need to wait. I think we all need to become grounded a little bit more. A lot of people are making a lot of assumptions. They think they know of something based on what they heard or what they read or what this or that or the other. And I think it would be irresponsible to really anybody. I don't give a shit how much. I don't care how much digging you do. No one really knows what all is going on right now. We are obviously in the early stages of this. More information will be provided. More information will come out. What we do know is that the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, has been arrested, has been taken alive. I'm sure he's being interviewed. I'm sure he's being interrogated. I'm sure we will get all the information that we need. All of that I have no doubt about. And in the days and weeks to come, we will get more information on what this suspect did, why he did it, his motivations behind it all. There's a lot of fighting going on online right now, a lot of it. And I think it is pertinent for people to take a breath, for people to relax. Many of you know, if you're watching this, we have our vigil tomorrow night at the Seaford train station for Charlie. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Immediately following this show, I'm going to go speak to law enforcement about it. We've confirmed a couple members of Congress. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman may be there. I think it's going to be a lot of, a lot of us, a lot of the people. We, at the Loud Majority, will be making an announcement there. Something we will be doing to honor Charlie's legacy. And I would urge everyone, to be calm and to be still. And I think that's what the theme of this show is going to be today. Yeah, I got to tell you, when Trump went on Fox and Friends this morning and said that there was a suspect in custody, I thought I was going to be happy. I thought I was going to be relieved. I thought I was going to say, oh, thank God they got him. But I just had more sadness. I just had more despair for what would make a 22-year-old with his whole life ahead of him take the life of a 31-year-old with his whole life ahead of him. What would make anybody do this? And we're getting a lot of reports about stuff that was written on the shell casings and written on the weapon and all that. Look, I want to be clear. Apparently it's got something to do with internet culture and Discord servers, and I am not going to pretend to understand any of that crap. But what I will say is that we know one thing won't happen. And this is what I think separates us from the left. And why I'm proud to believe the things that I believe. We know there will be no violence. We know that there will be no looting. We know that there will be nothing on fire and nothing will burn. We know that more people will not be hurt because of this, because we know that that's not what Charlie would have wanted. And I'm angry. Oh, I'm angry. I got to tell you, I'm the last couple days on this show has been sadness. And I am just about as angry as I think I've ever been watching the whataboutism, the both sidesism, the, oh, well, it happens over here. Oh, but what about January 6th? Oh, but what about this? What about that? I watched Piers Morgan earlier today, and I got lectured to by some 23-year-old British guy about the evils of the American right, having no idea what the hell he was talking about. I've watched all over my feed, and you've all been sending it to me, and I appreciate, look, I want to be clear, I appreciate so much when you guys send me videos that you think are important and you know that you think need to be out there. I've watched videos of hundreds of some of the most despicable human beings, the parasites of our society, praising what happened, happy, elated about what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I'm not going to say I prayed for those people, and I'm not going to, make some grandiose statement about that, because that's just not me. But I'm sad for them. I'm sad for them that they have that much hate in their heart. I am sad for them that they think that that is an appropriate way to live. And I don't know what happened to them that caused these people to be this hateful. But I hope they find happiness in their life at some point, because I can't wrap my brain around the moralizing. And for all the people on the left out there that are saying, oh, look, it wasn't an immigrant, so blah, or it wasn't a trans person, so, there goes that. Bro, that is not what this is about. We're missing something deep in this country. We're missing something real deep, and the whataboutism is what is getting me so furious. And it's the usual suspects. It's MSNBC, and it's CNN, and it's all the idiots on television that are paid to keep us divided and keep us pissed off at each other. Like, here's this idiot, Erin Burnett, on CNN that said that the real thing that we have to worry about is the chilling threats from the MAGA supporters.
Out front next, the breaking news, a frantic manhunt for Charlie Kirk's killer, nearly 30 hours on the run. How did the shooter make a getaway? There are new clues tonight, big developments in the manhunt as we understand it at this moment. And an eyewitness who asked Kirk a question moments before he was shot and killed joins us. What he saw and heard in those seconds leading up to the murder. And warning, it's about to get a lot worse in this country. That is a chilling threat from some of MAGA's youngest and most passionate members tonight. Let's go out front. And good evening, I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news.
That's what Erin Burnett's worried about. Not the fact that somebody just killed the I don't even know what you'd call it, the avatar, the PFP, the face of a movement in America. That's not what she's worried about. She's worried about threats from us, despite the fact that we know what is this? What is Fox reporting? Hold on a minute. Give me 1 second. Apparently the area has been evacuated outside of Charlie's house due to what they're calling concerning information. Give me 1 second, guys.
We were preparing to go live and show you this all on air, but moments ago, police told us that we had to evacuate the area, that they got some type of concerning information basically directly in front of or around the family home. We're not certain what that concerning information is, but there was also a chopper above, and authorities told us that we had to clear the area. So that's why I'm on the phone right now. We're not able to show you this on camera. But the neighborhood where the family lived in is a nice, middle class to upper class neighborhood. And
that appears to be yeah, we're gonna wait new details on that. I'm not really sure what that was. But yeah, I'll keep monitoring everything for you guys on that. But back to the point. The whataboutism is what's really bothering me right now. And it's coming from everywhere. It's coming from the usual suspects. It's coming from people like Chris Cuomo. It's coming from the idiots like Aaron Burnett. Here was Benny Johnson on Chris Cuomo's show, letting him know that this is not a left-right issue.
I don't really care how we got here so much. There is a lot of blame to go around. I do not see you guys as victims. You give as good as you get. There is a lot of anger. There is a lot of exaggeration. It is all hate for profit on the fringe of this battling binary political system. My question is now what?
Charlie Kirk has never advocated violence ever. Charlie Kirk was only
I'm not saying he did.
A nonviolent, peaceful debater. He went into places where he knew he was hated in order to engage.
I agree.
Kindly and humanly
that
with people.
he was not about violence.
For you to say that it's the same thing.
Oh, hold on.
It's not, Chris.
Hold on. I'm not talking about it with Charlie. Benny, don't play games with me. I'm giving you latitude because you deserve it, because this was...
First off, don't play games with me. Don't play games with me. Don't play games with me. Chris Cuomo, there is a reason why your dad loved your brother more. And I'm not sure exactly who the fuck he thinks he's talking to. Don't play games with me with this whataboutism crap. Yesterday I watched J.D. Vance, a future president, carrying the casket of another future president. And Chris Cuomo thinks what? He's gracing Benny Johnson with his presence on News Nation, a channel nobody gives a shit about, so that Chris can have his moment in the sun. Now, to contrast that, there were some rational people on the left, and I don't want you guys to think that there weren't any. There were many people of the left who came out like normal human beings with normal responses, with measured takes. Here was Bernie Sanders.
Thank you very much for joining me. I want to say a few words regarding the terrible murder yesterday of Charlie Kirk, someone who I strongly disagreed with on almost every issue, but who was clearly a very smart and effective communicator and organizer, and someone unafraid to get out into the world and engage the public. My condolences go out to his wife and his family. A free and democratic society, which is what America is supposed to be about, depends upon the basic premise that people can speak out, organize, and take part in public life without fear, without worrying that they might be killed, injured, or humiliated for expressing their political views. In fact, that is the essence of what freedom is about and what democracy is about. You have a point of view, that's great. I have a point of view that is different than yours. That's great. Let's argue it out. We make our case to the American people at the local, state, and federal levels, and we hold free elections in which the people decide what they want. That's called freedom and democracy. And I want as many people as possible to participate in that process without fear. Freedom and democracy is not about political violence. It is not about assassinating public officials. It is not about trying to intimidate people who speak out on an issue. Political violence, in fact, is political cowardice.
And that, you look, I'm not a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but that's a measured, normal human being response. And Senator Sanders is right. Political violence is political cowardice. It didn't take any balls to sit on top of that roof. It took balls to grab that microphone and let Charlie know why he was wrong. Why you thought he was wrong. It took courage to stand in front of that microphone and risk being an internet meme. But that's why I think that this is such a bigger issue. Okay? There's a reason why Charlie was able to go into college campuses all over the country, all over the world. He did it at Oxford. Oxford, one of the oldest colleges in the world. Here's a kid who dropped out of community college, standing in the debate halls at Oxford University, a place that has produced world leaders and princes and the heads of finance all over the planet, and embarrassed them. There's a reason why. There's a grander part of this. And I think a lot of people on the right get criticized for doing it. Why does Ben Shapiro go on college campuses and abuse college sophomores? They don't know any better. They don't know. Charlie Kirk is a much more skilled debater than people in college. I think that's the bigger problem. I think that's the bigger problem. That universities, and we've seen it over the course of the last several days, with many college professors and high school teachers celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Instead of challenging their students to have more knowledge, to have more wisdom, to be better, to know more, to continue to search out for wisdom. You know, I've said it before on the show, and it's not, someone actually said it to me yesterday. I've said it before that I am not the most religious person. I never have been. But watching Charlie debate people on scripture taught me so much about where the values I believe in come from. Things I had never considered before. things I had never thought about before. And the reason why college campuses are an easy place to make people look stupid is because colleges are producing stupid people. They're producing people who don't understand that there is another way of thinking. They're producing people that don't understand that there is another way of thinking. They're producing people who, we use the word triggered and snowflake and all that. We use that, flippantly, but it's real. If you're 23 years old and you went through college and you don't have another way of thinking and you've never considered that other people may think differently than you do, then you're going to be in real trouble when you finally do approach that sort of viewpoint, which is held by a majority of the country. Charlie was a moderate on the right. And that's just a fact. And people still couldn't handle it. People still couldn't handle it. But we know what will happen next. We're seeing prayer services pop up all over the country. There was one in Chicago last night. There was another one in London a little while ago. Here was one at Texas A&M over the last couple days.
Coming out. This is extremely short notice, so if you see the rest of the officers out here with scripts, it's because literally...
Sorry, I don't know why that didn't work. Give me a second. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Here you go. Let me pull that up again. Sorry about that. I don't know why that wasn't working. Here we are.
Coming out. This is extremely short notice, so if you see the rest of the officers out here with scripts, it's because literally... and young pro-life Aggies, American Conservation Coalition, Young Women for America, and a heartfelt statement from the Aggie Democrats. Without the effort that all of these organizations put forward, this event truly would not have been possible. I would also like to extend my special thanks to Texas A&M University officials, event services, and UPD for providing a safe and free environment to mourn the loss of a truly great servant of God. I know that Charlie Kirk would be so proud to see that, though he has passed, his mission of educating the youth and lessening the political divide on college campuses has not and will not stop at Texas A&M University. While I only got to meet Charlie a few times, I know that us as a university and a campus made a lasting impact on him. He embraced the Aggie culture with open arms and exemplified the core values that make us proud Aggies. He was a man that I personally looked up to. He stood for honest and peaceful discourse, the truth, and most importantly, true faith in Jesus Christ. It is for those reasons that I believe we can all take solace in the fact that Charlie is in the hands of the Lord. As the night goes on, I would ask all of you today to keep his wife and children in your thoughts and prayers. And as the days go on, continue to pray and do all you can to support his family in this time of crisis. Even though we mourn the loss of a truly exemplary American, we as a faith, a people, and a school will not be silenced by political violence. Regardless of your own beliefs, it is vital to our nation to stand united against the tyranny of the few. For these reasons, I ask that regardless of your own faith, you stay to honor the man that gave his life so we could all have a voice. I will now pass the microphone to Political Science Aggies.
This goes on and on and on, but these things are popping up all over the country with people speaking out, with people talking about what Charlie meant to them. Yesterday on this show, we spent a lot of time. We're going to do more of it today, talking about what Charlie meant to a lot of different people, because I don't want to talk about his death. I want to talk about the 31 years he spent on this earth and what he did for a lot of people. I've been showing you guys a lot of my friends over the course of the last couple of days. A lot of people, whatever you want to call them, pundits, commentators, influencers, whatever it may be, on what Charlie meant to them, what he did for them. Here's a good friend of mine, Alex Stein.
Really bad time, obviously, after my mom passed away, and I was going to city council meetings, and I was just like, some of them were getting some views and stuff, not that many views, maybe 10, 20,000 views, which is good for me. I was pumped at the time. But I went and I did this heartbeat bill speech where I said, I'm so mad that you guys are, outlawing abortion basically because it's, only it's the most foolproof form of contraception, and I don't want a bunch of baby mamas. And I was like just saying all these repugnant things that a pro-choicer says, clump of cells, like all of the keywords. And it got shared. The first person that made it go viral was Charlie. Charlie shared it on one of his, I think it was like Rumble at first, or maybe it was YouTube, I forget, but I remember that popped off. And I was like, what the hell? This on Charlie Kirk's account, I got 1 million views. I was like, what? And that's what set off the light bulb in my head. I'm like, man, I need to kind of do this like kind of culture jam, kind of like pretend that I'm the crazy person that I'm trying to make fun of. And so if it wasn't for Charlie, even him not even realizing just the effect that he had by sharing my content and letting his audience see who I was before he even knew who I was instrumental in the little bit of success that I've had. And Charlie probably doesn't even know that. And then, he decides to say, hey, Alex, I'm going to let you be a turning point influencer. I forget what it was called. It sounds crazy, but I was so excited to be a part of Turning Point. And I had some controversial people on my podcast, and very easily he could have canceled me for that. And I told him I didn't know about the previous heat, and Charlie believed me, and he gave me a second chance when he did not have to. And for that, I was so thankful. And then, fast forward 2-3 years later, I'm planning on going on my second college tour for Turning Point this semester, which is obviously not going to happen, but I will go speak at a college again. I don't know when that will be, but I'm not going to let this stop me, because I know that if Charlie would have lived, which we all were praying for him to live, Charlie would go back to a college campus, because Charlie was fearless, he was bold, and I want to emulate that boldness, so I'm not going to be in fear, and I'm not going to be scared to go to a college campus.
And that's key. Shout out to my friend Alex. That's key right there. To remain fearless. To live a life that would have made Charlie proud. And, I'm going to be talking about that a lot tomorrow. Once again, guys, for all the local viewers, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. at the Seaford train station. Come join us. Get there early. We are expecting a lot of people. The responses have been out of control. The responses have been unbelievable. I've actually gotten the chance to coalesce and to reminisce with some people that I've had some serious debates with, serious issues with, both in the activist space and in the elected. I was talking to Congressman Nick Lilloda the other day, and you guys know I've battled with him in the past. He'll be there because this is bigger than politics. And I'm so thankful for the congressman for him to come down to one of our events. Like I said, we've battled it out in public and in private, and this is just so much bigger than that. I don't know if he wants me to say this or not, but he was telling me that his kids loved watching Charlie. And that's been the response I've gotten from so many people over the course of the last several days. If you guys have shown me an unbelievable amount of love, as I really haven't been dealing with this very well. But that's what Charlie did. He brought people together. So I want to make sure we're able to do that for him as well. Because if he were here, that's what he'd be doing. Here with President Trump on Charlie's effect on so many people.
You know, I won youth. A Republican never wins youth, but I won youth. I will tell you, TikTok helped me, but he helped me with TikTok. But he helped me with youth. I've never seen a person who's, in this case, older than the people we're talking about. You know, in many cases, I've never seen young people or any group go to one person like they did to Charlie. Mm-hmm. He'd go out to Arizona, to any school, to Utah, where he was, but any school, also East Coast, anywhere. And he would have bigger rallies than any radical left speaker. And it was killing them because he'd have 5,000 people show up, 10,000 people show up. They'd go and they'd have 50 people, but they talk big league, right? Now, he was an unbelievable talent, but he was more, it wasn't really so much a talent. He just really believed it. He just believed it. He loved young people. He wanted to help young people. And he didn't deserve this. He was truly a good person.
He was truly a good person. Jillian Michaels, Jillian Michaels, the famous fitness instructor. She was on what the hell is that terrible show with all the fat people on NBC like 10 years ago? Who's kind of become a bit of a conservative influencer, you might say, or whatever the hell it might be, whatever the hell you want to call it. Speaking about what Charlie meant to her.
What I want to say about Charlie is that he and I had numerous disagreements. I'm a woman who's married to a woman. And despite that, he invited me on his podcast. He had me speak at his Turning Point event. He platformed me. He retweeted me. This is a guy that was willing to engage in debate to resolve disagreements. And the fact that I am seeing celebration, and I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to make this about any red, blue. I don't want to be divisive here, but this is disgusting. I got a tweet from my daughter today. I'm not thinking clearly. I got a text from my daughter today telling me that kids at her school were celebrating. Okay, at my daughter's high school. Something is wrong in this country. The divisiveness, the rhetoric, the othering has got to stop now.
She's not wrong. And look, you can't, and I'm not pointing fingers, man, but you can't spend a decade telling people that there's a Nazi around every corner and then think some lunatic is not going to do something. And as I said, we're going to find out more. We're going to know more. We're going to understand more in the days and weeks and I'm sure months to pass. But there is a serious void right now, not only in the American right, not only in the American culture, but in a lot of our hearts. And I think we need to find ways to fill that with goodness and decency. And remember that, I've spent the last, 40 minutes of this show and an hour yesterday showing you what Charlie meant to so many people. And if you're angry and you're hurting and you want to do something, you need to remember what those people said, the people who knew him best. Here were the guys from his show on Real America's Voice. It was pretty tough.
So badly to do this show for all of you today. And I wanted the friends of this show and of Charlie that knew him best, the Thought Crime crew, to be here in the studio to commemorate our friend, our dear brother, for this sacred, this solemn moment, this occasion none of us ever dreamed we would have to do. And here we are, because Charlie would want us to be here. He would be upset if we weren't here. And we, of course, have left his chair open and empty because nobody will ever fill it. Nobody could ever hope to. But by all of us together, we want to honor him, and we want to be more like him, and we want to be inspired by him, and we want you in the audience to know him like we knew him, and to be up close and personal to the front row seat to history, to a legend, to an American icon that we got every single day.
So his chair will sit vacant in that studio forever, which is pretty powerful stuff. Which is pretty powerful. But I think that, it's interesting. Of all the people who said, who made comments about Charlie, I think the one that was, you know what, I'll save Kash Patel for the end, because I think it's the most important one so far. Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire. Let me try to find this clip. Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire also had some words for Charlie. Look, a lot of us, and like I said, I'm showing you guys all these because these people span the ideology. Span the spectrum. Here's Matt Walsh.
But I do want to say this. When I see these rodents gloating now over the death of my friend, I'm by it. Yet also, I truly see it as a powerful tribute to Charlie's life and work. Charlie had many friends who loved him dearly, many fans who adored and admired him. That's without a doubt the greatest testament to the sort of man he was, no question about it. But as a true culture warrior, it must be said that the evil gloating of his enemies are accolades in their own right. May we all be so successful and productive that our enemies celebrate when we die. May we all be so devastating to the leftist project that they long for our demise. May we all fight so hard and so effectively that they have no choice but to try to kill us. May our lives be a problem for these people, and our deaths a relief. Let them dance on my grave as they dance on Charlie's. Then I will know that I did my duty. Our opponents should be happy when we leave the ring. If they aren't, then we didn't punch hard enough. Charlie punched harder than anyone. He did it with a smile. He did it through speech and debate. He did it non-violently. But he was a devastating fighter all the same. And his opponents are overjoyed because they think they've gotten rid of him. But they're wrong. They have gravely misjudged the situation. The only thing more powerful than a living fighter is a martyred one. In life, Charlie motivated and rallied us to put on the armor of God and fight for what we believe in. In death, he motivates and rallies us all the more. I want to be very clear that we will not back down after this. We will not shrink away or go into hiding. We will not fall silent. We will not walk in fear. We will stand taller and prouder than we ever have and be louder and bolder than we've ever been and fight harder than we've ever fought. They think they can kill the movement by killing us, but in the entire history of the world, that strategy has never worked. And it won't work now. I promise you that. You can kill a man. You can shoot him in the neck on stage. You can spill his blood for the whole world to see, but you cannot kill a cause. Especially when that cause is nothing else but love of God, love of country, love of family. That cause is truth. You can't kill the truth. No matter how many of us you shoot, you cannot kill it.
You can't kill the truth. And it's up to each and every one of us to continue to be purveyors of truth. Man, there's so many of these I could show you. So many of these from people I admire, from friends, from total strangers. There's so many more of them than there are the ones of high school teachers in New Jersey or nurses in Manchester or loveless people celebrating the death of a man, but someone who knew him better than almost anybody. It's my friend James O'Keefe.
Charlie Kirk's death is a dark moment for America, per President Trump. It's also a turning point for you and me, a call to action and a time for choosing. But first, let me tell you about my relationship with Charlie. Charlie was the greatest man I've ever personally known. He was a moral, kind, generous, and irreplaceable man. Charlie was Turning Point USA, the organization he founded. We are sad today because he represented the best of America and what we as men aspire to be. What set him apart was that he was the least hypocritical man I've ever known. He practiced what he preached in his professional and personal life like no other. Now, as for what he built, I would often watch him work and utter to myself, he's a force of nature. He was a modern-day William F. Buckley Jr. meets Rush Limbaugh meets community organizer. And it hurts to see him gone from this earth after all that was seemingly planned for him. Many of us know he would have one day been president. As Kierkegaard once said, the most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one that you'll never have. For those of you who have never met Charlie Kirk, this feels like a death in the family. But for those of us who did know him, and thousands of us were his friends, that says a lot about his character, by the way, we're heartbroken and grieving with a depth we've never before experienced in our lives. Let me tell you about my relationship with Charlie. I first met him in a Chicago diner in 2012 when he was 18 and then I was 27. He was persistent in reaching out to me, looking to obtain a meeting to receive guidance and advice on what he set out to build. He spoke confidently at this diner about his plans to build a mass movement of young people. I remember thinking at the time just how ambitious, grandiose, and seemingly improbable all these plans seemed, even for this precocious kid. But it was a world-changing idea. But there was also thousands of DMs of people sending these things to me with ideas about how they wanted to change the political landscape on a massive scale. Yet, few people actually had the X factor that Charlie Kirk had. That was actually something that one of my previous board members, Jim Young, said. Many people recognized that in him. And sitting across from me was this teenager with a half-eaten sandwich, speaking with the quiet conviction of Martin Luther. Here I stand, I can do no other. I saw him.
Here I stand, for I can do no other. James's story goes on even more than that about how Charlie came to his aid when he lost everything. As James once stood for him when he had nothing. And I think it's important for each and every one of us to remember that we don't always know what people are going through. Be there for one another. You know, I keep talking about this vigil that we have planned for tomorrow, and I got to tell you, for a guy who talks for a living, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. How do you How do you eulogize a legend? How do you encapsulate greatness? I have no idea. You know, it's so funny that I was talking to Sean about this before, and I was saying how when we started this show together, the laughs we would have, and many of you, have messaged us about doing a show together again, and how it all worked, and how much you want that, and we've talked about doing it before, and the laughs and the good times, and you guys should ask Sean about election night 2022. I'm sorry, election night 2021. It was. When sweeping victories all over Long Island, all over the place. It was out of control. The euphoria of that moment just seems so small right now. How do you eulogize a legend? I got about 24 hours to figure it out. And I'm sure that I will. But in 2 or 3 sentences, I think Kash Patel summed it up the best.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
We have the watch. I remember when Steve Bannon went to jail. We thought that was the worst thing that could happen when Steve Bannon went to jail. A lot of the people who know Steve and who's associated with guys on his team, and Steve used to say, well, everyone on the team would say, next man up. Next man up. And I bring that challenge to you. Will you be the next man up? Wherever you're living, whatever you're doing. I said it on yesterday's show, and I'll say it repeatedly. You want to honor this man? You want to honor greatness? Then you be the next man up wherever it is you're living. Because we're damn sure going to do it too. Like Primetime said, like Ben Shapiro said, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep moving forward. And even, I posted the vigil that we're having tomorrow night on all the social medias and going through some of the vile comments. I thought it would upset me more. But it just proves that what we're doing is working. I mean, here, you take this, look at this. I showed it on yesterday's show. There was the New York Yankees, a baseball team, honored the death of Charlie Kirk, honored the man on the big screen to raucous cheers in the Bronx. Last night at Lambeau Field, the NFL, who we've all criticized for their woke bullshit and their leftist nonsense over the last several years, even the NFL.
All right, moments ago inside the stadium, the Packers and the NFL observed a silent reflection following yesterday's events.
The National Football League asks that you please join us in a moment of silent reflection following the murder of Charlie Kirk. The NFL condemns all violence in our communities. It will take all of us to stop hate. Thank you.
The NFL didn't have to do that. It's just, it's a sports league, and so many athletes from Justin Jefferson of the Vikings and Patrick Mahomes, Jackson Dart of the Giants and Harrison Butker. So many players. Kurt Schilling and Tim Tebow and Jalen Hurts. There's a lot more of us than you think. And like Matt Walsh said, you're not gonna, you don't kill a movement by killing a man. When a ruler dies, his reign ends. But when a martyr dies, his rule only begins. And believe me, I could play countless tapes, and I did it yesterday, and I probably shouldn't have, of people out there claiming that Charlie deserved this, or he asked for it, or whatever. There's some radio host in L.A. who made things up about him, and Stephen King, that fucking has-been, just out there just running his mouth, and left-wing accounts out there grifting for clicks off of the death of a man. I could show you them all, but I don't think it's worth it. Every minute I'm getting updates from friends of mine that this teacher was fired for supporting, for cheering this on. And like I said, I'm not angry. I'm sad. I'm sad. What a terrible way to start the weekend. I'm looking in the chat right now. Desiree Davis, my 15-year-old daughter, started on social media this summer against my wishes and followed Charlie. He's devastated. Yeah, a lot of people are. A lot of people are. But guys, as we close out today, I want to play a tribute that Turning Point USA made for their leader, Charlie Kirk.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard.
I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really: America's the greatest country in the history of the world. The Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win.
We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus, but no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what. You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
If I don't see you guys tomorrow night, I'll see you on Wednesday. I'll see you on Monday. Until then, everybody, do it for Charlie.